Welcome to the Monday Monologue. Well, this week I want to talk about something I touched on earlier in the week and got accused of doing clickbait or something. People, oh, you're just trying to get a bunch of views. But I was serious, guys, when I was talking about my history in music and how I feel like it's gone full circle back to vinyl where I started. And hey, I know that's a controversial topic, and I know there's more to it than just the media that the music is played on. And yes, a lot of it has to do with the mix and more so the mastering that's put into getting it onto that media. And that's something I want to talk about today, is how and when I listen to certain kind of music and why. And one of the things I found now that I've got a really nice system is there's some music that I have liked a lot listening on other types of equipment, like in my car or on earlier systems, that now I just can't enjoy on my main system. Example, Eagles Hotel California. What a great road trip CD and or album, whatever you want to call it, cassette, whatever you listen to. And it's such a fun, Joe Walsh just kills it. But the mastering is horrible. All the vinyl I've tried sounds really bad. I mean, it's just dull and flat and doesn't have any life to it. The CDs all sound bad until I found, I think it's a MoFi Gold CD that sells for stupid money on eBay, and I broke down and bought one just because I really liked the album and wanted to try to find a good mastering of it, and that one's fixed. So that was an example of, yes, the digital sounds better than the vinyl, but it's because of the mastering. And there's other examples of the opposite. I grew up with A Charlie Brown Christmas, and I love Vince's music on that show. It's just so fun, and especially around Christmas time, I really enjoy putting that on and listening to it. Well, I don't know if you've listened to the CD. It sounds like trash. I mean, it's like VHS quality audio, but worse. You know, it's like the video version of VHS in audio. It's just horrible. The vinyl sounds insanely good, and it just really showcases what beautiful music was used in that show. And there's Dolly cruising by. So, yes, there is a mastering point of that. And then let's talk about Amy Winehouse. Her music is so fun, and I love like that song Rehab, and there's several other really great songs that she's done, and just in general her music is just great. But I have yet to find a decent quality recording of any of her music. And like, I know she had problems with alcoholism. I don't know if her whole orbit had problems with alcohol, and they were all just drunk in the studio when they were recording that, and nobody knew what they were doing, or they were too high to be able to like figure out what knobs to turn, and the stuff's just recorded really bad, and the master tapes are junk. I don't know, but I just can't listen to it on my good system. But that doesn't mean that I can't enjoy that music. So I reserve listening to her stuff when I'm in my car that has just got a little joining head unit in the stock speakers in my little Honda Civic, and while it sounds good, it's not super hi-fi, and her music sounds great, and I can jam to it in my car. But I don't listen to it on my good home system because it reveals how bad that recording is, and I just can't get past that. And I know some of you are like, well, you should enjoy the music for music's sake, and I agree. But when you have a system that is to the level of being holographic or audio VR, whatever you want to call it, where it really transforms your listening space into the actual event hall, when you put on music that's mastered bad, it loses that. And it's a different experience. So I guess what I'm saying is there's a time and a place for those other types of media or masterings that maybe aren't the best in the world. You can still enjoy the music, but when you're listening on a super revealing system, it just pulls you out of that experience that a better quality recording gives you. And you have to pick and choose which media you're going to use based on which one has the better mastering. And I do feel like the example that I was using with Brothers in Arms, even the normal vinyl, not the audiophile 45 RPM one, to me sounds better. And another example, I've got the MoFi version of the CD of Dark Side of the Moon. And just the normal release of the vinyl sounds better to me. It's got nicer bass. It just feels more open. It's more lively. And yeah, there's a little surface noise on the album during quiet sections or when you're between tracks. But I don't hear that when I'm listening to music. And I'm not listening to the silence. I'm listening to the music. And so that sort of stuff doesn't bother me. And that's another point while we're talking about that stuff. People have different thresholds of what they can tolerate as far as background noise. And I know there's this thing in the audiophile world where like the background's so dark it sucks all the light out of the room kind of stuff, you know, and that kind of crazy stuff. I'm not one of those people. If there is a little bit of noise, like those 834 preamps, they're going to have a little bit of noise during silent parts if you're listening to music really loud. And if you're not okay with that, don't buy one of these and get a solid state one and just live with the less lively sound that they have, because these aren't going to be dead silent because they get tubes. Now, you know, I will say, like, listening position, normal listening levels, like at 80 to 85 dB max, that I don't hear anything. But if you're listening louder than that, and you're going to hear something. And the same thing if you get these hyper 100-something decibel speakers, you're going to have to find amps and other equipment, if you're hum sensitive, that are dead silent, because those speakers are going to amplify anything that's coming out of the amp that's background noise. And I'm sure you guys already know that. And again, I guess people have different thresholds. I'm not a stick my ear up to the speaker and if I hear something that is trash. Some people I think are. That's just how things are. If you're like that, make sure that you communicate that, especially with me, so that I can make sure that I'm not selling you something that you're not going to be able to tolerate. And I need to learn to listen too. I've had folks say that sort of thing, and I was like, you'll be fine. And then they're like, no, I'm not fine. And it's like, yeah, that's, you told me, and I didn't listen to you. So that was my bad. Yeah, that's something we need to communicate better. And I admit I need to learn some too about how to really understand what customers are saying to me. Anyway, you can see the workbench is full of stuff. Been busy building stuff. Need to get back on this. I've been building a bunch of these things, trying to get some of these out the door. I've shipped about 6 of these, and people are super happy with them. And so, glad to get that feedback. Going to give you a little bit of info, though, about what these things can be like to build. And these things have so much gain. If there's anything that's not right with the circuit, they're going to do weird stuff. And this is one I built last week, plugged it in, thought, okay, got another one ready to go, turned it on, and bam, it goes, and it stops out of one channel. It's like, what was that? I've never heard one doing that before. I thought, yeah, maybe it just needs to run in some. Sometimes electronics are like that. When first power up, they might do a little something weird, and then they're fine. And it seemed to calm down, and then it came back. And then it seemed like when I wiggled the tube, it was doing something. And I am so careful when I'm assembling these things. I check every component with my little peak meter before I install it in the board to make sure it's within spec. I solder on both sides of the board, most components, or make sure that the solder flows through to both sides, so I know there's no like weak solder joints. And I'm just like, what is going on? So I tried cleaning the tube sockets. That didn't work. Let it run in a while. Tried some different tubes in it, thinking maybe that was it. Same thing. It was on one channel. The other side was perfect. The other side was not. And it was very intermittent, the noise it was making. And so, finally I took the board back out of the chassis, was looking at it, and I noticed that one of the caps had some shipping damage. And I don't know how I didn't see that. I mean, I feel like I'm so careful, but it had a little dent in the side of it. It's like, bing, there we go. So, pull that cap out, put another one in, put the preamp all back together, plugged it in. That wasn't it. Same thing. It's got this weird intermittent, and it's quieter now, but it's still there. And it's like, I'm not going to sell somebody this. And so I just pulled this whole board out, had another one that I populated up and put it in the box. It was perfectly silent. That one went out the door. And so, I guess what I'm saying is some folks are like, that seems like a lot of money for one of these preamps. The deal is I listen to all of them, and I test them for a couple of hours, and I make sure that these things are right. And nothing's going to get the Skunky badge put on it if it doesn't meet my expectations of what it should be doing. So that just takes time, and to provide that kind of service like this, I don't know what I'm going to do with this board. I guess I can pull all the parts off the board and repopulate it with some different parts on that one channel and see if that fixes it. And if it doesn't, I'll just have to throw this board away because I can't think of anything. There may be a little crack in a trace somewhere that I can't see. And so, I guess I can get my magnifying glass, look and make sure that none of the traces are cracked, but there's something weird going on. And sometimes with this stuff, I found that you never see what's wrong, and you feel like it's just a lost cause. And so, anyway, just kind of giving you some background on what it takes to do this stuff at the level that I'm trying to do it at. And trying to think what else is going on. I did order a whole pile of output transformers. I ordered another 10 of them so that I can maybe avoid this backlog of orders on amps by pre-ordering enough transformers so that this 8-week lead time doesn't interfere with being able to build these amps. And I feel like once I get this first order from Edcore, that then I'll have another order in the queue that should time with when I get this batch done, or at least I hope so. And then what's weird is somebody special ordered an amp with a 6 ohm tap, so I ordered a pair of those transformers, and they're on the way. And I'm still waiting for the 8 ohm ones that I ordered a month before. So, who knows what's going on with all that. Another thing that I want to look at doing is a headphone amp. And that's something very different than what I've had going on here. I saw a circuit online that looks really interesting. Uses a 12 HL7 or something like that. I'll be talking about that more soon. A little spud amp. It uses this triode strap pentode in a single tube, which I think will be a cool thing. I've ordered a couple of the output transformers that it uses, and I'm not a headphone user, so I may have to find someone to audition this thing. There's a couple of folks locally here that I know listen to headphones that maybe they'll help me out and tell me if this thing sounds good or not. Or, I don't know, I may need to break down and buy some nice headphones. If you know some reasonably priced headphones, I'm not going to spend like $2,000 on a pair of headphones, but some decent cans that I can get that are kind of representative of what a lot of people would be using. And I know there's 30 ohm ones and 300 ohm ones, and there's this whole world of headphone stuff that I just can't dive that deep into and spend a pile of money on that, given I don't really enjoy listening on headphones. But who knows, maybe I will after I hear some really good ones. So if you got some recommendations for a starter set of decent headphones, put it in the description. And also, probably going to unplug a few days, so if you send me an email, you'll probably get a response back that, yay, I'm unplugged, and I need to take a break from this whole online thing for a few days. So there's that. Try to refresh myself. And finally, I want to end up with a recommendation on some music. I want to thank you viewers. I have the best subscribers on the planet. And some of you guys that send me like little gifts, I appreciate that more than like the money. That people will send me vinyl to listen to and say, hey, Skunky, I think you might like this. So, got somebody that sent me this. If you haven't heard this, go download it, go preview it on Amazon Music or wherever you get your music from, or buy the vinyl. I've listened to the digital. I don't want to get lit on fire about this, but I've listened to the digital. I feel like I've got a decent digital setup, and the vinyl's just so much better. It's just so much clearer and crisper. Maybe there's some digital out there that would match this, but if you got a vinyl setup, buy the album. It sounds amazing. And it comes with a little picture book and this little box set. It's really a cool little thing. I don't know what this cost. I don't know where you even get it online. I don't think it's on Amazon. But anyway, very cool stuff. Have a listen to that. That's the kind of music I love. So thanks again to you folks that send me stuff like that and send me things for me to trial. I know I've had that Denafrip stack for a long time. I need to do something with that and do the review. I did a kind of initial listening test, but I need to sit down and just really do a, detailed A, B, C with the 3 DACs I have and make a decision about those, which one I like and that sort of stuff. So we'll be doing that soon. Again, thanks to all you folks that are Patreon supporters. Thanks to you folks that make donations or send me stuff or send me gear to use or all the stuff. People are buying the stuff from me. I really appreciate all of that. It helps support the channel, helps inspire me to keep building stuff and designing new stuff, or going out on the web and searching for cool designs that I think would make a good project. And I think this little headphone amp is going to be a cool one too. We're going to be doing some KT88 monoblock soon. I promise we're going to be doing those soon. I got to build another KT88 amp for another customer that I'm not sure that EL34 is enough or really fits his style of music. So I want to build him a KT88 amp. And so we've got that stuff in the pipeline. And I'm just really excited about the channel and the directions all this is going. And so we'll see you next week for the Monday Monologue.